Yo, what is up guys, Ghost here, welcome back to another video. We have a few subjects to go over today, so it's going to be like a bit of a news roundup video. First of all, there is a new Battlefield Labs test coming very soon. We also have a new EA earnings call tomorrow, which could give us a clue as to what EA are really thinking, especially when it comes to the release window of the next Battlefield game, so that could be very interesting. And then of course we have a brand new update for Battlefield 2042, update 8.7. So we're going to be digging into all of that in a minute. Before we do though, as usual, if you guys enjoy the content here on the channel, I recommend subscribing. There's going to be a lot of interesting stuff on the new Battlefield game, Battlefield 2042, and etc. And you know, I do dabble from time to time in other titles as well. So if that rocks your boat, then hit up that sub button. And as always, thank you guys for your ongoing support. Alright, so first up here, rumour has it, there is a new Battlefield Labs playtest beginning this Friday on the 9th of May, and it's also going to be taking place on a new map called Aftermath. So Aftermath, for anybody who hasn't seen the leaked concept art, is, I believe, going to be the Brooklyn map set in New York. You know, this one here that shows the collapsed Manhattan Bridge in the background. So this is one of those locations that has been asked for time and time again every single year when new Battlefield games come around. You know, people are like, hey, guys, why don't you do maps in the US? And finally, they've done it. We've, of course, also seen concept art from the Hollywood Hills, so that's another map now, which should be very interesting. The other thing, of course, which is very interesting about this is for anybody who saw my previous video where I reported on a rumor that DICE were considering stopping new invites for the Battlefield Labs tests because of all the leaks going out. Well, I have had some people reach out to me and say that they have received new invites who weren't in the tests before, so it seems that that rumor was either baseless or DICE have just rethunk things and you know, decided to go back on that decision, and they are now sending out new invites to people. So if you were somebody who was like, oh man, I really wanted to get in on the tests and kind of had your hopes dashed, well, now you may be able to. I do think as time goes on, though, people are getting a little bit more scared about leaking things. You know, they're thinking twice about it, whereas when the game first came out, they just kind of put all the leaks out there. Well, that being said, we did see a 23-minute leak from the last test, and that was clearly somebody who just couldn't care less about getting their account banned, but I digress. So moving on from that, we have a brand new EA earnings call starting tomorrow. It's going to be late in the evening, so I won't be able to put a video out quite tomorrow for you guys, but I will be recapping everything the day after that on the Wednesday. And for the most part, these are boring. You guys aren't really missing anything. It is Andrew Wilson, the CEO of EA, and the other bigwigs there talking to their investors. But it can give us some additional insights into what EA are thinking, especially when it comes to the launch window timing for the game. Because they speak to their investors, of course, very differently than the way they speak to their consumers. And in the last EA earnings call, what we heard from Andrew Wilson is that they were certainly considering, you know, lengthening the release window. They weren't necessarily going to go with their regular release window, which would generally be around October or November. And I'm sure that they were thinking this year. And he said it was because of other releases around that time. We, of course, can only assume he's talking about the Big Daddy Grand Theft Auto 6. And you may have heard Grand Theft Auto 6 has now been delayed until, I believe, was it May next year, 2026. So whether he's now going to pivot and give us some information about whether we can expect the game this year or next year, that could be coming up tomorrow. So I recommend keeping your eyes peeled to the channel. Like I said, I'll be doing a video on Wednesday with any useful, relevant information. And finally here, let's take a quick look at the update 8.7 for Battlefield 2042. This is launching tomorrow on the 6th of May. It's not the hugest update in the world, guys, so don't, you know, get your hopes up or anything, but there are some interesting things here I just wanted to touch on and go over quickly. So first of all, they are bringing back the Dead Space event on the Redacted map. Now, for any new players who weren't here when they first had this event, which must have been, I don't know, months ago, right, when Redacted first launched, maybe even over a year ago at this point, basically, you have these synthetic, like almost zombies that come out of these creation chambers and basically try and take down your squad. So if you played the recent game mode with the 4 players in the squad, and then you were going up against robots, and it was like a rush type game mode, it's sort of like that same PvE experience. So depending on if that's something that you enjoy or not, you know, there may be something here for you, there may not be. For me personally, I played one round of it, and I was just that was enough for me. I was fine, you know, it's appreciated for those players who like PvE, but that's not really why I play Battlefield. But hopefully some of you guys out there will enjoy it. They have made a number of improvements here to the game mode from when it was last released. I'm going to just show you these on screen now, so if you want to pause it and read all of them, feel free, but most of them are simply bug fixes. Moving on, we have some areas of improvement. So under weapons here, the NVK S22, that is one of the shotguns, they have upgraded the pocket size on soldier outfits to accommodate more shells. So what that means is you can just simply carry more ammunition. So for buckshot, you have double the shells, and then also flechette and slugs, you have now double the shells, going up to 40 and 20 there each. The AI soldiers are now less effective at landing their shots with vehicle weapons when targeting fast-moving or direction-changing vehicles. So when they say vehicle weapons, I assume they mean if you've got AI actually using a vehicle. Apparently, they were absolutely cracked with their aim. Not sure about that, but I've definitely experienced being in, for example, a helicopter, and the aim of the AI with the M5 recoilless launchers is ridiculous. It's like they're Terminators and they're just locking onto you, and they can perfectly predict almost every time exactly where they need to shoot. So maybe they're also talking about that, not sure, but that was a needed nerf there for the AI. Then we have a few little bug fixes here for some of the various maps on certain specific modes. Again, I'm just going to put these on screen for you guys. I don't think it's anything major. I haven't noticed any issues on these maps in any of the referenced areas here, so most likely you haven't either. The vehicle deploy menu text was changed from all deployed to unavailable to remove confusion about why vehicles can't be spawned. Maybe I'm misinterpreting this one, but to me, changing the text from all deployed, which clearly states that all of the vehicles of that type have been deployed on the battlefield, to simply unavailable doesn't really make it clearer to me. Quite the contrary, it makes it even more confusing, because if I see the word unavailable, well, I don't know why it's unavailable. Is it because they're all out on the battlefield? Is it because I can't spawn in one because I've got a timer on my soldier because it's too soon since I've spawned in a vehicle? I don't know, but I do have issues with the vehicle spawn system in Battlefield 2042. Why will it not tell you, like, how many vehicles specifically are on the battlefield? What is the maximum? How many are left to spawn? How many... Like, there just needs to be more thorough information there in general to convey to you what the situation is on the vehicles, because a lot of the time I will have a personal timer that's stopping me from spawning, and I'll be sort of waiting for that to run out, but then I realize, oh, all of the helicopters have spawned anyway, so GG's. Anyway, maybe something Eddie and the team want to look into there. They've also fixed an issue with 2 C4 not oh, they said C4. Ah, you messed up, Dice. It's C5, I think you'll find. Not destroying Bradley and BMP's weak side when using the active armor upgrade. This perk was not meant to protect against explosive damage, so if you're not aware, vehicles have actually weak sides depending on where you place the C4 or the C5. Oh, no, I've done it. They will do more damage there, so that's been fixed. Moving on to weapons, for the M16A3, they fixed an issue where damage dropped by 1 point and rose again at a specific range, so the M16A3 now maintains consistent damage across the full range interval using the higher value. So that weapon may be worth a look again just to see if it does a bit more damage. Apparently it was like sort of fluctuating up and down where it shouldn't have been. For the AK-5C and the AA-94, they have fixed an issue where the heavy barrel attachment that didn't apply the correct modifiers in hipfire, and also the recoil penalty was slightly lower than intended. It should now climb 15% more compared to the vanilla barrel. So of course a heavy barrel should give you more recoil because it also gives you better velocity and more range and whatnot, and apparently that wasn't happening before. And then for the rest of them here, I'm just going to put these on screen because they're just essentially fixes to some aesthetic things with the weapon. They've, realigned rails for attaching scopes. They've corrected a slightly misaligned laser on the LS1 attachment for the ACWR and also the L9CZ. And that is the end of the patch notes, guys. So not a major patch tomorrow by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think there's going to be any... Well, of course, there's not going to be any weekly missions, right? Because we don't have a battle pass, we don't have an event pass, so there's nothing to really progress. But at least there is going to be, well, maybe a new game mode for some people. For us oldies, it's a bit of an old one, and I don't know, I might give it a go you know, just for old time's sake, and then put it down. But that is going to do it for this video, guys. Let me know what you think about everything that we discussed down below. Do you think we're going to see some juicy information tomorrow out of the EA earnings call? Some people I have noticed over on Reddit are speculating there may even be a trailer drop today so that the investors can see that and then Andrew Wilson can talk about it tomorrow. I really don't think that's going to happen. I think it's just too early for a trailer, although I know a lot of people have been calling for that. And remember, there is a new Battlefield Labs test. New invites have been going out, so make sure to check your inbox, check your junk mail, all that stuff if you signed up, because, you know, every week I see people on Reddit crying because they're like, no, I missed the invite. I had an invite in my inbox and I didn't see it, and now I've missed the test. Because I think it's like you have to actually confirm your participation. If you don't click the link to confirm, I think that's it. You've just got to wait until you get another email. So that must really suck. So yeah, check those emails, guys. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Lots of Battlefield content coming in the future. And I'll see you all in the next one.